Good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. I had a little difficulty getting into my um, email here to get my slides, so I apologize that I'm a couple minutes late here, but I do appreciate you all hanging tight. We are going to go over always our fun time of the year where we kind of start going over, the fast facts, things that were updated for 2020, good information to know. Hopefully you have all started to receive your packets. Hopefully they've gone out okay. If you don't, as we're going through this, if for some reason you guys don't recall getting your fast facts or new updated calendars, labor law posters, please let me know. I'd be happy to make sure you get a copy of those ASAP. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, thank you for attending today. I am Ashley with Journey Payroll. If you haven't joined us before, I do see a lot of new names on our attendee list here today, and I just appreciate you so much coming and joining us for these. We do some mini webinars. We do our normal webinars, and we really try to focus on kind of a lot of different topics. So I want people to know and share these with anybody. They don't even have to be a client, honestly. But we just want people to know and be up to date with what's going on. So obviously, if there's anything, within our industry that's changing or updating, anything going on with Journey, anything that we can push out to you guys and get you to really better understand or know, what we do and how our system works and the tools that all of you have access to. It's just phenomenal. We have such a great platform that we use, and I just always want to make sure that clients get that information. So again, minis and normal webinars. So please, definitely, if you haven't subscribed to these, we have them from the past as well, which I encourage people, go through and read them and watch past webinars and catch up on what's going on. So we will get jumping in here. So usual changes. Every year there's federal and state changes that come out, as all of us are very aware of. Most of the changes each year are on the federal level, but there are definitely some within state. But, again, most are federal. Most are within the retirement contributions, HSA, mileage, just all sorts of things that might change federally. So we always account for those. And then we go into our state changes. And we most certainly are, in a lot of different states now. Journey, last count, I think we were in 36 or 34 different states. And so we're getting into so many different states and really a lot of that is growth through our current clients, our partners, referrals, which is great. It's so great to get in there, and obviously our system handles all the internal changes, but we like to be able to get you information on state specific changes as well, just because that's we know we're growing into multiple states as well. So state changes each year typically revolve around minimum wage. Many states have planned increases over a number of years. So, and there's increments built in, and so they're already planned out. But additionally, there can be changes to wage withholding percentages, thresholds, unemployment rates for businesses. So it's always good information to make sure you have the latest and greatest. Why? It's one of my favorite questions. Well, why? Why do they change things so often? If I could answer that, if I had $1 for every time it was asked, I'd probably be very wealthy. But why do they? Sometimes I think, I think they do it just to keep us all on our toes. But I know that there's a lot of reasons around that. So when it comes to the federal updates, changes to contribution limits are usually adjusted by updates to the cost of living, right? So cost of living is something that's always changing, and it's always something that, businesses try to take into account, but states and federal levels do as well. So the cost of living is the amount of money, for anybody that doesn't know what cost of living is there, it's the amount of money that is needed to sustain a certain standard of living by affording basic expenses such as housing, food, taxes, healthcare, you name it, right? It's in the cost of living. We all feel that pinch. We all go through that. When budgeting each year is what has our cost of living gone up to? but the federal and state levels also take into account what the federal or what the cost of living has kind of adjusted to as well. State changes do take into consideration cost of living, but on a much smaller scale for each state, right? So every state is different. We know that every state works different, and so those are just taken into account. But each state can run those differently. Policy updates, all that fun government stuff that we love to hear about throughout the year. That most certainly can play into why they're making changes as well. And if you're curious about current rates and numbers that are not on the Journey Fast Fact sheets that you received, you can find that by visiting Department of Labor and Unemployment or Unemployment government sites. So please feel free if you don't know, if you've got a Fast Facts and you don't see your state specifically on there that you're looking for or trying to get some information on, please definitely let us know. While we try to kind of put everything out there, we know that it's impossible to put it all out on one sheet and send it out to you guys each year. So if there are specifics, please don't hesitate to reach out to us on those as well. Updates for us, fun updates. So FICA updates, FICA maximum table earnings. 2019 was 132.9. 2020, they have raised that to 137.7. Retirement contribution updates, 401k, 403bs. 2019, it was at 19,000. This year, 2020, it's at 19.5. And then simple IRAs, 2019, that was at 13 flat. 2020, it's going to 13.5. So good information to know as far as contribution limits. Obviously, maximum table earnings for FICA. It's always important to know where you're at and if that tax stops, why. Some HSA updates. So for those of you that might not be familiar, HSA is a health savings account. Self-only contribution, if it's just you, 2019 was 3,500, so 3,005. 2020 it is 3,550. Family, if you have your family on an HSA, the family contribution limit 2019 was 7 flat, 2020 is 7,100. So if you are much like a lot of our clients and you're contributing to your HSA every payroll, or an employer is also funding it, it's good to know these limits. I don't believe that banks police this at all, so it's something that it's good to have. We have those on your pay stubs, so if you're currently doing it, you'll know exactly what's going into those. Okay. How do the updates apply to my business? So every year around this time, everybody starts to kind of wonder, wait a second, how does this affect my business? How does it apply to my business? Minimum wage. Obviously, this is the update you'll notice first. Minimum wage updates occur January 1st, so first of the year. However, some will take effect later in the year, and that's just because of that schedule that some of them have already kind of adapted to and taken on. So always look for those. Look for those on our website. Look for those on our Fast Facts. Google it. Honestly, just always make sure you're aware of what's going on. Unemployment rate updates. So each year you should receive a new rate for your unemployment tax, more commonly known as your UI rate. You'll get a UI notice. They usually come out in November of every year for the following year's rate. So it's always important to know that we need a copy of those. I think a big misconception is that, oh, Journey's my power of attorney. And while yes, we do get power of attorneys on file for you guys, it's so that we can make those tax payments. It does not always mean that we get those notices. So definitely every year, those rates are just huge. They're huge for us to get a copy of. So please make sure you get those sent in if you receive it. And this rate depends on your industry. So we always get questions on, well, how come my rate is, what it's at? I don't determine those by any means. Payroll doesn't determine those by any means. It's your industry. So they go off of your industry code, more often known as your SIC code. And that's just, what is your business? Construction is going to be a lot different than office work, obviously. They also take into consideration how long you've been in business and other factors determined by your state's institution. So have you had a lot of claims? Have you, is your industry high for turnover? I mean, these are all things that they take into consideration when doing this. So that's why it's important to always kind of know, hey, here's where I'm at and here's why, but give them a call if you're ever curious. And then updates to the contribution limits. So these affect your businesses because they'll impact your employees' checks, right? If you match for a contribution like a 401k, this will also directly impact your budget. And again, luckily for you, contribution limits are automatically updated within Journey's system. So we always will know what those new contribution limits are. That's not something you have to research and send to us. It's always good for you to know, though. And like I said, this was structured to be a mini webinar, so that does kind of wrap it up for what we're doing today. Keep in mind these are supposed to be, between 10 and 15 minutes max, and it's just to highlight information that you have. We felt like this was a great time to most certainly go over the fast facts, given those were just recently sent out, and hopefully all of you have received those. And again, if you have not, please reach out and let me know, because I'd be happy to make sure I get a copy of that in your hands. If you have questions, my information is on the screen there. It is best to contact me directly, either at the office here or by email. If you did not get a copy of labor law posters, if you did not get a copy of your fast facts and calendar, please do reach out. We will get a copy sent to you right away. If you got one poster and you need two, please feel free to let us know, and we'd be happy to get you that information. So I again appreciate all of you coming to this webinar. Let's see. Sorry, I just had a question pop up. Yes, Miss Wendy. Yes, absolutely. These are all recorded. And this is great to preface this again. These are all recorded webinars. So we record every single one of ours, our normal webinars, our mini webinars. We record them and keep them. They're on our website. But Wendy, if you want to shoot me an email, my email is right there on the screen. I would be more than happy to make sure you get that link and can rewatch this. It does take a little bit of time for us to get it processed once it's done recording. As soon as we end this, it does take a little while to get that formatted and cleaned up on our site. So, give it just about a couple of days, but we'll have that out and absolutely get that to you. So great question. But for everybody else, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Again, if you need anything, please reach out to us, and keep a tab on what's going on here, because we will probably get some information out for COVID-19. I know everybody is most certainly, this is top of mind for everybody. So we will most certainly be getting some stuff out and information out to our clients. We value you guys. We want to make sure you guys know what protocols we're putting in place here internally, but how that will affect you guys, if at all. But it's just good information to know. So we might be doing a kind of a one-off webinar on that soon, but I will keep you all posted. Otherwise, subscribe, make sure you're tuned in, reach out to your payroll specialist, reach out to me, and we'll make sure we get you taken care of. So I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will talk to you guys soon. Thank you.